Most people think they know what happens when a woman lives without sex, but they're wrong. Carl Jung believed the mind reacts in surprising, even dangerous ways when a natural drive is ignored. What you're about to hear might change how you see desire and yourself forever. Today, perhaps more than ever before, people are searching for something deeper, a way to understand themselves beyond the surface labels and fleeting trends. In a world where so many are chasing attention, the rare individuals who radiate calm confidence seem to draw people in without even trying. This is not about beauty in the conventional sense, but about a presence that makes you stop and pay attention. Carl Jung, one of the most influential thinkers of the 20th century, explored the hidden forces that shape our behavior, our relationships, and the way we connect with others. According to him, certain inner qualities, when cultivated, not only transform a person from the inside out, but create an almost magnetic pull on those around them. When you meet a woman who embodies these traits, you feel it instantly. It's in her voice, in the way she carries herself, in the way she listens without rushing to speak. It's not performance, it's authenticity. And that authenticity is what makes her unforgettable. Jung believed that what truly attracts us to someone is not just what we see, but what we sense, the subtle cues that tell us this person is self-aware, emotionally grounded, and deeply in tune with themselves. These are not qualities you can fake for long. They come from a place of inner work, from facing your own shadows, and from the courage to live in alignment with your values. Imagine a woman who doesn't need to fill every silence with words. She's comfortable with pauses, with letting moments breathe. When she speaks, her words carry weight because they come from reflection, not from the need to impress. Jung would say she has integrated parts of herself that most people ignore, and that integration gives her a rare depth. This isn't about perfection. In fact, part of her appeal is that she's not perfect, and she doesn't pretend to be. She owns her flaws without letting them define her. That kind of self-acceptance is disarming. It tells you she's not playing a role. She's simply being herself. You might notice the way she handles conflict. She doesn't escalate or withdraw in fear. Instead, she engages with curiosity, seeking to understand before seeking to be understood. This is emotional maturity in action, and it is a quality that Jung associated with true individuation, the process of becoming your most authentic self. Over time, you realize she has boundaries, clear ones, and she enforces them without hostility. These boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're gates that open and close with intention. They show that she values her own energy and respects the flow of her own life. Carl Jung often spoke of the importance of individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming the person you were always meant to be. For her, this means saying no when she needs to, even if it disappoints someone. It means making choices that align with her values, not just with what's convenient or popular. Her presence feels grounded. You sense that she's not looking to you for validation because she already knows her worth. That doesn't mean she's arrogant, far from it. She can appreciate a compliment without needing it to feel whole. This subtle self-assurance is magnetic because it's so rare. When you watch how she treats others, you see a quiet consistency. She doesn't reserve kindness for people who can benefit her. She treats the barista, the neighbor, the stranger in the elevator with the same level of attention and respect. Jung might call this the integration of the shadow, an awareness that everyone carries both light and dark within them. She recognizes this in herself and in others, which makes her less judgmental and more compassionate. Even in the way she dresses or carries herself, there's a deliberate simplicity. She's not dressing to compete. She's dressing to feel at home in her own skin. And somehow, that makes her stand out even more. You can't quite put your finger on why. You just know there is something different about her. She listens, really listens, when you speak. She's not mentally preparing her response while you talk. She gives you her full attention, and in a world full of distractions, that feels rare and valuable. That presence is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. Carl Jung believed that when you cultivate self-awareness, you stop trying to control how others see you and focus instead on who you actually are. This woman has done that work. She's more interested in living truthfully than in being liked, and ironically, that truthfulness makes people like her even more. She's not afraid of solitude. She doesn't see it as a void to be filled, but as a space to recharge and reflect. This comfort with her own company allows her to be more present when she's with others. She's not clinging, not performing, not trying to fill some invisible gap. When life gets messy, and it always does, she doesn't crumble. She feels the pain, yes, but she doesn't let it swallow her. Jung would say she's learned to hold the tension of opposites, to sit with both joy and sorrow without rushing to resolve them. That balance is part of her quiet power. She's selective about the people she lets close, not out of fear, but out of respect for her own emotional space. When she chooses you, it means something. You don't get the sense she gives that same closeness to just anyone. That selectiveness makes her relationships deeper, richer, more intentional. And there's another layer. She doesn't compete with others in destructive ways. She celebrates other people's wins without feeling like they diminish her own. That generosity of spirit makes her a safe person to be around. You can relax in her presence because you know she's not secretly keeping score. As time moves on, she notices something else. Life starts meeting her with a different kind of energy. Opportunities appear where before there were only closed doors. People approach her with respect instead of entitlement. Even challenges feel less like personal attacks and more like invitations to grow. Carl Jung often said that when you change within, the outer world reorganizes itself accordingly. She's living proof of this. The more she aligns with her authentic self, the more the external world mirrors that authenticity back to her. It's not magic, it's resonance. There are still moments when she catches a glimpse of her old self, the girl who once bent over backwards to be liked, who mistook chaos for passion, who thought love was something you had to suffer for. But now, those memories are like faded photographs. They remind her of where she came from, but they no longer define where she's going. And when someone new does enter her life, whether as a friend, a partner, or a fleeting acquaintance, she meets them from this place of inner steadiness. She listens differently now, not just to their words, but to their consistency. She notices whether their actions align with their promises. She trusts what she feels in her body as much as what she hears in her ears. Jung would call this the union of consciousness and the unconscious, the head and the heart finally working together. This is why her presence feels magnetic now. She is no longer split between who she is and who she pretends to be. That magnetic presence is not about charm or performance. It's about truth. And truth has its own gravity. People who are ready for that truth will be drawn to it. Those who aren't will find reasons to walk away, and she will let them without chasing. What once felt like rejection now feels like protection. What once felt like endings now feels like redirection. And every time she honors herself in this way, she reinforces her own trust in her choices. That self-trust is the foundation of her life now. More than love, more than success, more than approval. Carl Jung believed that wholeness is not achieved by cutting off parts of ourselves, but by integrating them, the shadow and the light, the fear and the courage, the past and the present. She understands this now, not as an abstract idea, but as a lived truth. The parts of her that once felt like weaknesses, her sensitivity, her deep feelings, her need for solitude, have become her strengths. She moves through the world with a new kind of confidence. Not the loud, showy kind, but the grounded, steady kind that doesn't need to be announced. She knows she can weather storms because she already has. She knows she can be alone because she has learned to enjoy her own company. And she knows that love, if it comes, will be something she chooses from abundance, not from lack. In the end, her transformation isn't about becoming someone better to attract others. It's about becoming more herself and letting that be enough. And it turns out, that is more than enough. Carl Jung would say this is individuation, the lifelong process of becoming the person you were always meant to be. She may not have put it in those words when she began this journey, but now, looking back, she sees it clearly. She has walked through loss. She has faced her shadows. She has stood alone in the quiet and found that it is not empty, but full of her own thoughts, her own dreams, her own strength. And that fullness, that completeness, is what makes her truly irresistible.